minutes.
I wish.
So.
Yeah, we're live on YouTube. Look at that.
Yeah.
The game has started. Good luck, everybody.
Jim, don't frown. That's okay. You look good on YouTube too.
Dude, I need to go. At my age, you can't stop frowning. That's my happy face.
Are you French, Jim?
Yeah.
He's like partially Spanish, as far as I know.
Yeah, I'm half Spanish. I think I just need to get a crap camera so that it doesn't pick up that stuff anymore.
Yeah, put it on the technology. You're right.
Yeah. There must be a problem. I think there's some cracks on the lenses there somewhere.
So, Nick, you were pushing this to YouTube, and then you.
Yeah. I'm just going quiet, and we'll start.
You take the URL and then you push it to what LinkedIn,
yes,
but does it go feed, or you have to click to get into YouTube?
I just need to put the link. Now I've prepared everything, so.
I'll take a look. Interesting. I'm not too familiar with the setup.
Okay, let's start recording so we don't just talk. Okay, guys. So I guess let's start. Let me just share my screen and we'll go from there. Okay, guys, do you see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you everybody for joining the webinar today. I am Nick Penev, the Partnership Manager of HelloTax, and I have today with me Yoni, co-founder of Getida, Jim, Director of Acquisitions with Trasio, and Jerome, co-founder of e-Comas. I do these events every 2 weeks with different partners because all of them have some unique solutions, and the sellers need different tools to actually succeed in Amazon because Amazon is a jungle. You need to have people to actually help you there. To navigate, all the different obstacles and challenges. So we're having the webinar today. It's called Amazon Journey from Entry to Exit. How you go there and how you exit successfully with the big bag of cash eventually, if you want to do that after all. So the agenda is like that. First, I'll let you know about what you need to know in regards to the VAT and the VAT compliance in Europe. Then Jerome would actually talk about how to set up your Amazon business in Europe and what exactly they do to help you out. After that, Yoni from Getida will actually tell you how to optimize your profits, because once you grow to a certain level, you need to start optimizing so you can get an edge over your competitors. And at the end, Jim will let you know about the state of the market today in regards to Amazon and brand acquisitions, which is a very trending topic right now. And at the end, we'll have the Q&A section. So if you have any questions or anything that you would like to add, feel free to actually type it in the chat or in the Q&A section. So here are the speakers. You see us already, but here we have some nice pictures, some nice style titles, etc. So what is VAT and what HelloTax does? The actual owners of HelloTax, they used to run an Amazon agency and they used to be sellers. So they had a lot of issues with the VAT compliance for their own brands and their own sellers. So what they decided to do, to build a VAT SaaS solution to actually help e-commerce sellers. We're not just a regular accounting company. We only do the VAT compliance for online sellers. So what we do, we're actually helping sellers to expand in Europe and actually take care of their VAT compliance. So what actually, if you're an e-commerce business, if you're planning to start one, what you would need to know in Europe? No, you need to know your VAT liability, what it was in the past, in the present, because obviously if you don't know that, you might get penalized. So you need to register for VAT in different countries and obviously file the returns there based on their regulations. You need to have a view of the movements of goods that you have within different markets, because that is also required in some legislations. And obviously you need to have complete visibility on your all sales channels, Amazon, private website, whatever else you're using. So VAT, Europe, there is 27 countries, 26 right now after Brexit in the European Union. So there are different VAT rates. There is no way that you know that. So this is actually what we take care of it. The software actually uh, know exactly where is the report coming and you know exactly how much you need to pay. Complexity of the VAT registration. When you start selling in Europe, that's one of the first questions. Where should I start? So just so you know, Spain is the hardest market to actually start selling to because they want original documentations for everything before you register there. And Poland is one of the easiest one. And Germany is the one where we get the most demand. After Brexit, even more. On average, now it takes 6 weeks up to even 4 months in Spain to actually do the registration. And probably half of that time is actually the you collecting the documentation which is required for that. So why the heck should I need VAT? I mean, you might ask that. I mean, there is two reasons for that. I mean, first is the distance selling threshold limit. There is right now each country in Europe have a different threshold, like 100k in Germany, 60k in France, 40k in Spain. So you would need to know that because if you don't, you might exceed that and you might skip paying VAT, which is not a good thing. The second case is when you store goods in the country. You need to do that before actually start selling. So if you sell in multiple markets, you would need to register for each one of them in advance. So, and here I have some good news for you guys. In July 1st, the so-called one-stop shop would come into effect and the threshold would no longer be valid from July. Then we'll have the OSS as an introduction where there is a unified 10,000K VAT threshold for all European Union countries. So obviously, once you hit the threshold, you don't need to register across all markets. You just pay it in your home country. In regards to the storage, you still need to register in each market where you sell. So this doesn't change. So what you would need to know in regards to that, in regards to the one-stop shop. If you're like an EU-based company, you need to have like a country of establishment. It could be your home country or different country. There you need to actually register for the OSS after you hit the 10,000 euro threshold. And after that, you can do sales across all markets in Europe. You pay and report the sales only in the destination, in the establishment or the home country that you're using. Your tax authority collects the money and they pay that to the other tax authorities around Europe. So you just have one place. This only, of course, if you don't store goods. If you decide to use different countries as storage locations, then you would need to actually register in each ones and you need to file the reports and register there. So the threshold is not important in this case. And another thing which is important for the one-stop shop, the actual marketplaces like Amazon, eBay, they're actually responsible for collecting the VAT on certain transactions. So the first one, it's when a non-EU seller is actually storing in the EU and is making sales to clients within Europe. And the second option is if you're a non-EU seller selling from outside of EU and the order value is less than 150 euro. In these cases, Amazon collects the VAT on the sale, paid that to the tax authority, so you don't need to worry for that. But on the other side, you still need to do the reporting. This is actually what we do. If you have like a private label website which doesn't collect that, you need to do it yourself. So it's a little more complicated, but in the end, this is actually what we do. We provide the software and the tools to actually make it easier for you guys. So what we do, I mean, like I told you guys, we provide the VAT compliance solution. We have a tool where you can register online, we connect your Amazon store, we get the data, we do the filing, we prepare the returns, you just pay that and that's it. There is nothing else that you need to do. You can see the dashboard with all your sales on different channels. You can see the returns. You can have a tax letter inbox where you can see the communication that we receive from tax authority in English and German. So like a VAT solution, like a VAT software service solution on the front end, and this is backed by the account managers that we have on call. We have account managers in multiple languages and tax agents in each market. So we combine the user-friendly tool with the actual manual work on the backend. So you just need to connect your store, do your sales, and forget about the VAT compliance. So this is what we do. We're actually helping you to be compliant, because after you've done the registration, after you start actually preparing to sell, then you need to actually start working with somebody like an agency or like an expert who can actually help you out to start making money, because we've done just the legislation, the documentation part. So right now you need to actually start selling on different markets. And this is actually where Jerome and in e-commerce are experts. They have been doing that for a long time. They work with a lot of brands, so he know exactly where and how things work out in regards to Amazon. So Jerome, I'll stop sharing so you can actually start with your presentation. Tell us exactly what you guys do and why merchants and sellers are actually using you.
Exactly. So I even kicked you out from presenting.
You did well.
You.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Great job explaining the complexities of the tax implications. And I will be talking about, okay, what does it take to take a brand and into expansion, and like it can be global, but you could start and focus on Europe. And to do that, we will focus on a brand. But a few words about ourselves. We are an agency. We are based mainly in Europe. We've got an office in Luxembourg, in the center of Europe, and basically we've got a very international teams with teams all over the world. In India, we've got also an office in the States. We have also our own seller account, so we know a lot of things about how to expand brands on Amazon and e-commerce in general. And we have throughout our team more than 100 years experience on Amazon, so that gives you a lot of knowledge. And sort of when we do troubleshooting, there's a lot of knowledge from our team we can tap into, and we really help from the strategic side to implementing the advertising. But we'll see that through the example. I will be talking about a brand because I think that's where it's most powerful to have a story with it for your own brand, but for me today for the presentation. So the brand I will be talking about is called My Carry Potty, and it was created by Amanda Jenner, and we've been working with them for around 2 years now. And they were starting in the UK, and they had some distributors and having a lot of trouble to get the next level in terms of sales growth. And taking that example, I will show you what kind of steps we take and we believe are very important for you to be successful. And just to have an overview in 10 minutes, we won't go into specifics, but just the main ideas. And we've got 4 steps we go through. One is defining a strategy. Second one is defining the operations, and then working on content, and then advertising and traffic. So if we go into the details of the first step of being strategic, and what means being strategic here is we've got 5 things we work on. Is, okay, where do you want to sell? Which country do you want to focus on? Typically, if you're talking Amazon, if you're talking Europe, you've got 2 countries, which one is the UK, the second one is Germany, or at least let's say other way around. It's like Germany is the biggest one and UK is the second biggest one. If you don't have knowledge about German and you have no resources, UK is simple because it's in English, but Germany is still the biggest. So where is your first question? Where should I start? The second is, okay, how should I sell? So typically now the easiest route is being a seller, but you could ask yourself, hey, should I be a vendor? Do I have other distributors and I don't want to disrupt my market? Then comes a question about being a vendor manager. Sorry, a vendor account. So that's the how. The third thing is which products. And that's when you're launching, you might say, okay, I've got 80 products. Should I start with the 80 products, or should I make a selection? Like for us, less than 15 products is difficult to be successful. More than 50 makes it complicated with the localization, for example. So it's, okay, which products should I start with? And then which prices? And you could ask yourself, okay, should I have the same type of prices, or what kind of pricing do I want to have? Bear in mind that typically in Europe, all prices are with VAT, whereas in States, prices are without taxes. All prices in Europe for end consumers are with VAT from the beginning. So you need to understand that you've got 20%, which you need to add to your prices, because otherwise it will be deducted. So don't go with your net prices. And the last thing is about the timing. Okay, what's the timing? Where, how much, when do you want to start? Where and with what kind of money, right? So these are the main questions you need to ask yourself and to answer and dig into to have already a successful plan. Now, if we go into learnings on the strategic side, is first, our recommendation is select one market and build from there. So typically with My Carrier Body, they were from the UK. This was their home market. This was easiest to get started. So we focused into the UK market to just build the success here. Also because it's less resources hungry to have one country in terms of advertising, but also in terms of stock and cash flow, and build there where perhaps your brand is most well known. And Amanda was more known in the UK than the other countries. So first focus on one market. Then you select your best option. As I said, most of the time people will go through Seller Central, where you have a better control of prices. But then is one of our big recommendation is increase your prices as much as you can. Like a lot of people say, yeah, I'm afraid I want to, it won't sell. Like our experience is actually sometimes the more expensive, the more you sell in a sense, because the people will say, okay, this product has a lot of value. So you're better off to have a higher price point and do discounts at some points, right? So, but being sure, because the cost of FBA specifically in Europe is very expensive. And one example is if you have your stock in Germany, but you don't want to put your products in Poland or Czech Republic, each product Amazon will charge you 50 cents extra just because you're not using Czech Republic and Poland, which are cheaper warehouses. So you need to be careful on that front. Make sure you package your products well. So if you have experience on selling on e-commerce, that makes sense. But okay, you need to make sure also if you have nutriments or if you have food, that the legislation will be different in Europe than in the US. So you need to make sure your labeling is also properly done. Now, one of the things which is for every adventure, be it on Amazon, but everywhere, is like set your KPIs, set your profit targets, and follow them very carefully, specifically with FBA, because as I said, you might find out that you will be charged a lot. And actually, Yoni will explain to you how you can lower that part, but still, you need to be very aware and following that in very details. Then the last discussion, and on that brand, they had distributors, for example, which were far away in Eastern Europe, but they found out that those products they were selling in containers to East Europe were coming back to Amazon through Amazon Germany. Someone was selling those products to Germany, and they were breaking the prices and losing the buy box. So sometimes you're better off not selling to too many people and focusing on Amazon to build your case study and build a successful case study. Now, in terms of operations, is have the right team to grow, and you've got a few things you need to check. VAT, Nick talked about it. That's a must. Like you need to have that under control. Warehousing is another question. Do you use directly Amazon FBA or another warehousing solution? And then you've got Amazon account creation, account management, content generation, who produces the content and localized, and then advertising, who does that advertising. And you need to make sure you've got the team in place, and the tool in place. And maybe you will want to do it internally or externally, but you need to check on that front. We've seen the two first building blocks. Now the thing is to drive conversion, which is the biggest KPI. You need to make sure you localize your content. So obviously, if you start on one country, you will have less expenses, and that's good because you want to invest in the advertising on your home country. But once you start to go outside, it's like you need to make SEO research and like keywords. You can't just translate keywords. You need to make the research to make sure that those keywords are relevant. And you can see those two examples is you have exactly the same content in the UK and in the other markets. And that's a big work, right? It's like making sure the pictures will like go in other markets, but all the title, the content needs to be researched and optimized. And if you don't do it, Amazon will tend to do it themselves. And there's a lot of examples of Amazon Sweden, for example, where Amazon launched in Sweden and actually made some translation which was completely wrong because they were using Google Translate. And you don't want to have like sometimes stupid content which appears with your brand. So you need A, to control it, and B, you just, make sure that it's really work and that you own it. That's on the content side. On the learnings here is make sure one thing, so you've got all those pictures, title, bullet points, but one thing which is very, very important is a browse node. So you need to make sure your products appear in the right browse node. Know that, and we know that from Amazon, 30% of your IDQ store, so item data quality, it comes from your browse node. If you're in the wrong browse node, it will not work. So you need to make sure that in each country you understand the categories. You then do the basics of the content, and then, as I'm doing a bit with Cambridge, with My Carry Bodies, tell a story. Like, come with a story to your customer. That's true in the US. That's true everywhere. It's like, customers will be linked to your products if you tell a compelling story. The story of My Carry Body is Amanda is telling her story of her kids having problems with potties, and she wrote a book about it. So there's a story behind it. There's some emotions, and she's got an Instagram account, and she goes on TV shows and stuff. There's a story behind it, and that builds a structure. It's like there's no magic on Amazon. Marketing is marketing. It's like you need to have a compelling story to your brand to be successful. And that's something, if you don't have, we can help you to build it, but it's very important that you talk to people and they feel linked to what you're telling. And a mom telling about her problems of their kids not being clean, like every mom can relate to that. So that's super important. Bring emotions, context, and people. So you've seen pictures of kids, happy kids with light, with sun. That's enormous in terms of making sure you're successful. Now you will see in Europe, Northern Europe and Southern Europe will probably react differently. So you can sort of look at different audiences, but in all places, bringing people, faces, smiles will help you a lot to sell. Now, in terms of advertising, typically the idea is, as you know, it's like if you're looking for a potty in this is in the UK, is how many people are showing up. You need to make sure you're in the top of the search, and that's where you need to advertise. And once again, you need to start in your home country, invest there, and once you're there, you've got a bit of cash where you can invest in more stock and also more advertising and content for the other countries. But that without that piece, that's very difficult to be successful. So the key learnings to wrap up is like build your brand story, select your distribution and protect the way you're building it. Protect your value also with the pricing. And as I said, if you tap as high as you can, prepare for growth. So there's a cash flow and a stock issue, right? Being ready for that. Amazon can go very quick, and save money to invest in content and advertising. And for the story of My Carry Body, we started with the sales we were doing in a month at the beginning, we are doing today in half a day. Like in half a day, we were doing what they were doing at the beginning all together, because we went step by step, investing in the things which really matter. And that's all for me. And now we'll be talking about how you reduce some of the fees I talked about with Yoni.
All right.
Thank you, Jerome. Great stuff. Now, let's say now we're talking for a brand. Now we have grown, we have reached a certain revenue. Now, but of course, revenue is nothing. You need profit. Otherwise, you're just working for Amazon. So this actually why you need Yoni and Gitida, because obviously without optimizing, you don't make money at the end. So that's very important. So Yoni, tell us what you guys do exactly.
You got it. So hello, everybody. Thank you so much for your time and joining with us today. All right. So before I dive into the slides and all the materials, just like Nick said, I want to kind of reiterate. So you made all this effort. You created your brand. You chose your markets. You did VAT. So much hurdles just to get in. But when you get in and sales start to come in, and hopefully you're making millions in revenue, or sky's the limit. That's not where the party ends. Then you have to basically upgrade yourself to the next level, where you really have to become a professional about this and really kind of focus on numbers and what's going on. Where's all the money going to? Where's all the money coming in, and where's all the money coming out? So I'll focus a little bit about that. Hopefully it's going to be helpful. But so it's going to focus on how to optimize the profit. So what is Getida? What are we? Who are we? Is it Getida? Is it Getida? It doesn't really matter. It's just an acronym. It stands for Get IDA, which is Get Intelligent Data Analytics. Essentially, we're a technology company, and our claim to fame is our ability to help Amazon sellers get the maximum FBA reimbursements and recoveries that they're eligible to receive. because once you start selling on Amazon, and probably you're going to choose the FBA route, things will happen. So our technology helps to find it, and but we have a dedicated team that helps you open cases with Amazon and get recoveries. We're an authorized solution provider, so you can find us on the Amazon App Store and Amazon SPN. So that's a little bit about us. But let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so now I want to bring you guys some attention of a few announcements of what's going on, because sometimes the best way to avoid paying more, basically the best way to make more profit is to avoid paying more, right? So a few announcements and a few changes that are coming into Amazon in January and June 1st, which is pretty much in a week. So you have very little time to take action on this. They're going to change the what's called the FBA manual processing fees. So if nobody ever heard of FBA manual processing fees, I'll tell you a little bit more about it. So you know to be careful not to pay it. So whenever you create an FBA shipment, right, maybe from your factory in China or wherever your 3PL is, you're going to have to tell Amazon exactly what's in the shipment, what's in each box, which SKU, and how many units. So you got to make sure you give it to them. If you don't, they're going to charge you an FBA processing, manual processing fee. So for example, right now, if you're selling in the US, but the same thing will be kind of in the Europe, is let's say you're shipping in 10,000 units, right? And now they're going to charge you 10 cents a unit, but June 1st, they're going to charge you 15 cents a unit. So if you ship 10,000 units, there's going to be $1,500 paid for no reason, right? So you're going to pay all that fee, plus it's going to take Amazon longer to receive your product on FBA. So avoid these fees at all costs. So make sure when you ship your product to FBA, Amazon knows exactly what you have in each box and each pallet, and which SKU and how many units. Avoid these fees. There's no reason to pay them. So that's on the first kind of announcement. The second part of the announcement is the FBA Small and Light program. Okay, there's changes which are better for the sellers. This is good news. Small and Light FBA Small and Light program is a program where if you have products that are lower than a certain weight and dimensions or weight, Amazon is going to charge you reduced fees for FBA. Okay, so for example, if Amazon is charging you €4 right now to pick and pack the unit and ship it to the consumer, with FBA Small and Light, they might charge you €1 less. So instead of 4, maybe €3. So there's gonna be some changes in June 1st, and here they are for the most part, right? 10 to 12 ounce. The threshold used to be 10 ounces, so now it's gonna be 12 ounces. So let's say your product was 11 ounces or 12 ounces. Now it can be eligible for the Small and Light program. You're gonna pay less. And then the wedding dimensions, instead of 16 inches, now it's expanded to 18 inches on the longest side. And then you have from 9 inches to 14, and then 4 to 8 inches. Okay, so to summarize all this is good news where Amazon is giving you more ability to send larger, heavier products and pay less in fees. Okay, so now FBA return processing fee changes, which is also good news. Okay, June 1st, they're going to reduce the return processing fee for return products on the shoes category, but also on the watches, jewelry, luggage, handbags, and sunglasses. So what does this mean, this return fee? So when the customers return your products back to your, to your Amazon account, to your FBA, Amazon charges, a return processing fee. It could be a few dollars, a few euros, or a few, Great British pounds. So for certain categories, Amazon is reducing it, removing it. So for this category, they're going to reduce it for the apparel, shoes, and shoes. But here, these categories are going to eliminate it, which is huge. You're going to save a fortune. So be attentive to that. Maybe consider sending more units in or being more bullish on your selection. So as you can see, it's watches, jewelry, luggage, handbags, and sunglasses category. I remember that the Jim Man, he used to be in the luggage category. He's from Taos, so he's going to talk to us very, very soon. So, for him, it's probably, touches the heart because, you can pay a lot of fees for returns. So if we reduce that, it's pretty awesome. Okay, and the last announcement from Amazon, right? This is more like EU related, so I'm gonna touch one by one, but I want to remind everybody we're gonna share these slides afterwards, so I don't want to get too hold up on the language or anything. So I'll make it brief, and once again, you can review later and break it down. But here's the first one: return processing fee. Starting March 1st of 2021, they're gonna reduce the customer returns processing fee by 50% for these categories: clothing, shoes, and bags, and completely remove it for jewelry and watches. Something we just announced. It's kind of a reiteration, but this means that it applies also to UK and EU. Okay, that's why I want to kind of put an emphasis on that. Okay, referral fee promotion for clothing, shoes, and bags. The current referral fee promotion, which reduces the referral fee from 15.30% to 7.14%. Okay, for the portion of sales that are greater from this amount. So if you're selling in the UK and your product you're selling for £50, you're gonna get a discount, and I'll explain in a minute. If you're selling in, let's say, Europe, and you're selling for 45 euro, you're gonna pay less. And let me give you the breakdown. So let's say you're in UK and you're selling your product for 50 pounds. For 45, the first 45 pounds, you're going to pay the regular fee of 15.30%. But for that remaining 5 pounds, you're going to pay only 7%. So now that you know that, maybe you can, or if you're close to the threshold, the limits, maybe you can increase your prices and make more margin. So be attentive to that. This is once again for clothing, shoes, and bags sold through FBA. By the way, it's supposed to end April 30 of this year. Amazon has extended it pretty much for another year until 2022. So be bullish. Amazon basically signals that it wants more of these products, especially on FBA. So send it over and have some fun with this and make more profit. Okay. Here they're basically saying, I want to make this short, that they want new ASINs. If you have a new ASIN that you're shipping to FBA for the first time, they're going to reduce a lot of the fees, okay, especially for clothing, shoes, and bags. Okay, you can review it later. And it regards UK, Germany, France, Italy, and Spain, which are the main stores for EU. Okay, here's a quick case study because I want you guys to understand, money's coming in, that's blue, money's going out, it's the red. When you sell on Amazon, they show you this page, you'll think, at least on the FBA side, this is all I'm paying in FBA fees, 496, right? But that's not really true, because over here where it says Amazon fees, it's hiding a lot. And why is it hiding? I want to help you guys out. So 77,000 was paid in Amazon fees for the seller, but 43,000 of it, okay, is which is actually 20% from the sales, because the sales were 220,000, are in FBA fees of pick and pack. And what's the pick and pack fees? That is the king of all fees with FBA. So every time you sell a product on FBA, Amazon will pick the unit from the bin, they package in a box, they ship it out. That is where you pay heavy and a lot. So I want you guys to understand that. This is kind of the purpose of the slide. And now that you know that, this is a simple strategy to reduce these fees, because the amount of fees that you're going to pay for it is based on the weight and dimension. So the larger and heavier Amazon think your product is, the more you're going to pay. So what does that tell you? When you sell online, on e-commerce, and especially on Amazon FBA, be smart with your packaging. Make it small and light as possible. Okay, a small example, if you want to sell a ball, instead of sending it inflated where it's like 30 centimeters, deflate it. So now it's going to be 5 centimeters. So instead of paying like 10 euros or 10 pounds, you might say only pay 3 euros or 3 pounds every time Amazon fulfills your order. So be smart and think light on your units. Okay, it's not like regular retail when you have to put a big packaging on the shelf. It's not the game with e-commerce. Okay, here's some free tools for you guys for your consideration. If you just visit getita.com/ebook, you're going to get a package of 3 things. The first thing will be is an ebook on how to read an Amazon income statement, because Amazon's numbers can get very confusing very quickly. So I give you all the background to understand where all the money is flowing. Learn it, study it, know it, and of course you give it to your bookkeeper or whoever does your accounting. Here, the second tool is a profit and loss template. Of course, you have to know all the Amazon fees, what's going on with all the money coming in and out, but even more than that, probably what's going on with your business. Where's all the money coming in? Where's all the money coming out? Are you making a profit or are you losing money? The more you know, the better you're going to get. And the last thing is a tracker for your wedding dimensions. You want to keep tracking of your wedding dimensions. So if there's any change in Amazon charges you more in fees, you're going to be able to discover that and take action, because if they're overcharging you with fees and they're not supposed to, you should stop that right away and also get a refund for that, or reimbursement. Okay, here's the last parts of the slide is Amazon refunds or Amazon reimbursements. This is kind of the name of the game that we can help. So high level, I want to give you some statistics. We found out that between on an annual basis, the discrepancy rate can range between 1 to 3%. So if you do €1 million of sales on Amazon FBA, 1 to 3% of your sales can get affected with issues. 1 to 3% could be 10 to 30,000. And why? Because in FBA, your products can get lost, damaged, destroyed, disappeared, or charged with all these fees. So you need to keep on auditing it. And once you discover the issue, open cases with Amazon and get your money back. Now, Amazon allows up to 18 months to go back and find all these issues, which is really nice and generous. And if you don't, the cases will expire. You're going to lose your money. So do not miss out. And also, when you open cases with Amazon and Amazon replies to you when they want more information, make sure to read it and give it to them so they can give you the money, the reimbursement. Okay. And of course, if it's too much for anybody, it's too hard, you don't even understand what I just spoke about, FBI reimbursements, FBI auditing, we can help you. It's free to join Getita. It doesn't cost anything. There's no subscription. There's no contract. You can cancel the solution at any time. Plus, if you want to try us out, we're willing to give you the first $400 in reimbursements for free. We're not going to charge you a penny. So all you got to do, you can just visit getita.com/CBW, which is cross-border worldwide. That's kind of the topic that we have here. So I hope that's helpful. And now we're here for Thrasio. So just to conclude a little bit, when you send your products in, make it small and light, because it's going to save you a lot of fees, especially with FBA. know your numbers. So you have the tools that we provided that you can really track what's going on with your numbers, and of course audit your transactions. So when you find the issues, make sure you get paid for it. If you get 1 to 3% from your sales back to your bottom line, it's a lot of profit. And of course, if you need help, there's solutions out there. We happen to be one of them. We'll be happy to help. And I hope Jim is ready. So now, after you hopefully made a lot of money and a lot of profit, and you're sure of it, then you can really start thinking about cashing out.
Thank you very much, Yoni. And just on the product packaging, we bought a brand recently where we resized the packaging. We saved $4 a unit on the COGS. And this was a product that cost about that to manufacture. So the size of packaging and getting it right for QBScan is massive for profitability. And if you're not doing it, your competitors will. So just look at that. You can make money or at least remain competitive if you get that stuff right. So look, I know we've done a lot of talking collectively, so I'm going to fly through this. Feel free to chuck any questions in. I'm going to quickly talk through what we've seen at Thrasio in the last 12 months. It's been an interesting year for anyone selling on Amazon. And then I'm going to touch on some questions around, if you're thinking about selling the business, some questions that I hope will help you make the right decision around the right time to sell and who's the right acquirer for you. And then part of that process is the questions to ask your acquirer, which will help you drill down. There are lots of people out there buying in the market at the moment. So I think as a seller, I'm going to give you some questions that I hope will make you sort of match up the right seller for you, acquirer for you. And I'll tell you a little bit about Thrasio and some of the stuff we're doing that's driving the great performance that allows us to keep growing and be the kind of leader in our space of Amazon acquirers. So Yoni, can we flip to the next? Well, just reflecting on the last year, it's been an amazing and difficult year for sellers. So, you know, the COVID has driven massive sales, but it's caused huge amounts of stress on inbound shipments, the cost of containers, the ability to find a container, Amazon IPI indexes restricting inventory, the need to find a third-party warehouse provider. I mean, even this week, everyone's experiencing, today I can send more in, tomorrow I can't. It's just, there's no way of planning. So sales have been great, but it's been tough on people's nerves, I think it's probably fair to say, in the last year. And, you know, the opportunity now for a lot of people after a really strong 12 months is to look at selling their business. And if you're going to sell, here's some stuff for you to think about and some questions to ask yourself. Now, there are different deal structures out there. So, you know, depending on what's important to you, do you want all the money now because you might want to start a new business, you want to recapitalize, or are you looking for a best final exit over a period of time? And you may have heard some of this terminology, but a lot of aggregators, us included, we offer an earn-out structure. So what that means is we'll give you a load of money up front when we close the deal very quickly, and then we'll share the uplift in profit, usually for 2 years, that we create when we put unlimited cash flow and our team behind the brand. So it's a 2-year exit rather than upfront payment. Now, most people, a 2-year earn-out's great. Most people want the best final exit, but for some people, it's important to capitalize right now. And sometimes it's good to have that money, but you might sacrifice your total exit number over the 2 years. Another big question to ask yourself is, you know, do I care about my brand? Some people, their brand is their baby. Okay, so they care almost about what's going to happen to their brand as much as they do about the money in their bank. If you really care about your brand, which most people do, you want to really do your diligence on who's buying your brand, what they're going to do with it, what their plans are, how they're going to fund the growth, where they're going to grow the markets, and what channels you're going to see your brands in. The other big question is, there are different types of acquirer that some will allow you to leave the business and pretty much be free within weeks of the agreement. Others will need you to keep running the business, usually for a couple of years. So if you want to have freedom to go and do something quickly, the aggregator is a good option for you. If you are happy and want to stay running the business, but want to take some cash off the table and are happy being under the pressure of someone else effectively managing the numbers with you, you know, you've got the options of going into private equity, PE, or even strategic acquirers. So if you're running a beauty brand that's hit 10 million plus, 20 million plus, strategic acquirers like L'Oreal, who are looking to add a brand to their portfolio, they pay great money, and they'll bring you in as part of their team, and they'll normally ask you to be there for a year or 2 years as you transition the brand into their business. So money's great, but you know, you're tied in for quite a while. So these are really good questions to think about as you're thinking about selling your business. What's right for you? The other big question is that, you know, what's a lot of people are just, if I hit that number on exit, I'm out. So think, is it 5 million? Is it 10 million? Is it 30 million? Be very clear about if you're driven by an exit number, come to the table with that number in mind, because whoever you talk to, they'll very quickly say, look, we're there, or you've got to do this first. So you'll get some good feedback. So come to the table with the numbers is always a good idea. Yoni, next slide. Now, the other question, once you're clear in your head around the deal structure that's right for you and the type of acquirer, you then want to do your diligence on them. Now, what I see all the time is that, and it's normal, when someone is looking to sell their business, they feel a little bit like a rabbit in the headlights. And sometimes they forget to ask us what we're going to do with the brand and do diligence on us. They're so worried about the diligence we're doing on their business, they don't really press us around, how many acquisitions we've done, what's our team like, what's our funding like. Someone might promise you to 10x your brand. They've got to have the funds, and we all know that cash flow is king when it comes to scaling a business. If they haven't got the funds to 10x your brand, their word is not they can't follow through on that promise. So ask the acquirer, show me proof of funds, show me your track record on acquisitions, and give me a plan for what you're going to do with the brand. Don't just promise me a number, show me specifically how you're going to do it and where you've done it before. Make sure that they've done this before. And then the final bit is ask them about their teams, their background. And Yoni, probably at this stage we can jump onto the next slide actually. I'll tell you a little bit about Thrasio, but this is our internal structure. We're a pretty open book. We've grown from 0 to 1,000 employees in just under 3 years. So we're experiencing hypergrowth ourselves. And we're very lucky now where we've got, I don't know what the count is, I think it's about 18,000 SKUs on Amazon. We do about 20% of our revenue off Amazon now. And I'll talk about those teams in a minute. But if you look at the bottom of this slide here, we've got a technology and data team, and that's pretty much the beating heart of the business now. All our decisions are driven by the data we have from the 17,000 or 18,000 SKUs. So we are pulling all of this information on the algorithm every day. And that gives us a really strong ability to make good decisions on where to invest, in what categories, and what are the levers that are getting the best results right now. So once we've got that data, we've got a SEO team headed up by a guy called Casey Gauss, lovely guy, and probably one of the smartest brains in SEO in our world. Thanks, Yoni. We have a creative team. Those guys on Amazon are looking at image stacks, A+ content. We've got video production and animators in there. They're pushing all the assets across to the marketing team. The marketing team are, Yoni, you're brilliant at this. The marketing team, we've got dedicated teams for Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Google, TikTok, and of course, Amazon PPC. Now, those guys are working very closely with external influencers and affiliate sites. We work very closely with some of the biggest publishers in the States as well. So we're getting press coverage. And they are driving, there's a team within the marketing team that are driving direct to consumer. So we're running branded websites there as well and are growing that channel. And the team that's not on there as well is our retail team. And in fact, if we go to the next slide, I think we've got some of this in more detail. Yeah, so we have a direct to consumer team building out the websites. And then we have a retail team. So something that's a little bit probably contrary to what everyone would think as an Amazon heritage business is we're pushing back out globally into retail. So we have great relationships with Walmart and Target, some of the specialty multiples, the pet multiples, and then some of the small. We have a small army of the guys that actually go into the sort of boutique retailers who are. I always think of them going in and opening up their coats and showing what they've got. In the States especially, you have these specialist sales teams operating on the ground, and we're pushing brands out that way as well. So that's us. And I think when you speak to the team that are going to take on your brand when the time is right to sell, these are the kinds of things you want to be asking your acquirer, not only what they're going to do, but have they got the team to deliver? And this is our structure. There'll be sort of variations of that, but unlimited cash flow, a team of 1,000 people growing fast, and unmatched track record of growing brands. There's a reason we keep raising all this money, is because we keep buying brands and scaling them at 2 to 3x the speed anyone else can profitably. And as long as we keep delivering that on our acquisitions, we keep getting money from the likes of JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. So it's a really simple model, but as with everything on Amazon and elsewhere, execution is very, very hard. And luckily we've got a team to do that. So, no matter where you're at on your Amazon journey, take these slides and get that structure. You know, whether you're doing it all yourself or you're hiring people, it's good to look at that slide and think about where you can invest in to scale your business. I think that's about it, guys. Should we go to Q&A?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, if anyone wants to contact me, by the way, that's my email address, jim.man@thras.io.
Nick, you need to unmute yourself. That would help.
Exactly. I forgot about that. So thanks, Jerome. So let's start with the question, guys, because it's sunny here. I'm not at the beach yet, but if I were, I'll be shooting questions right and left. So here's the first question from Henry. That's for Jerome. Hi, I currently sell in the UK only. I'm looking for the most cost-effective way to expand into new markets. Germany is a priority. The issue I'm facing is revenue is relatively low, and a lot of solutions I have seen have high monthly costs. Do you have any advice? Thanks in advance.
That's $1 million question. So typically, what I would say is make like a success story. So if you manage to have one product which got a good conversion rate, then you can start to find someone to help you, and that will be the most cost effective, because you know that if you invest there, it will grow. Now, if none of them are good converting well, to be fair, is either the cheapest is you need to learn yourself, and you look at a lot of webinars and test, and that will take a bit of time, and you do it. Otherwise, you need to get the help of an agency, an expert, and you've got different sizes of agencies and experts. A lot of them are very good, but there will be an element of investing. So it's like, if you have nothing to invest, you have to learn. And if you say, no, I don't have the time, so then you need to invest upfront.
So obviously, no, you either invest in your time or invest and you pay somebody else. I mean, there is not a way around. So we have another question that's one for Yoni. So from Karan, can you please suggest the best solution for inventory management in calculating COGS? How would you rate Link My Books? How would you rate? Can you suggest an alternative which is less expensive?
Got it. So I'm not too familiar with Link My Books, but I am familiar with Connect Books. You know, you have QuickBooks. We also have Connect Books. So Connect Books, if you just Google it, it's a company that helps you to understand all the Amazon transactions on a financial side, and then it can actually feed it to QuickBooks or any other solution that you need that does your bookkeeping or accounting. And it should be very affordable, maybe like $100 a month or something like that, maybe 200. So it's very cost effective. And the best solution for inventory management, I don't sell on Amazon anymore, but when we used to sell on Amazon, we used to use a software called Seller Cloud. It's called Seller Cloud. It's very robust. You can do multi-channel. You can you can use it to, of course, sell on any Amazon channel. So it can be Germany, UK, and so forth. But you can also plug in eBay, Walmart. Just sky's the limit. Really, it's very robust and ready to work on a multi-channel approach. So that is something I'm familiar with. So once again, for inventory management, Seller Cloud. For bookkeeping and accounting, Connect Books. And then, yeah, I hope that helps.
Yeah, actually, Jim just mentioned companies A2X Accounting. They're actually a partner of mine. They're also good for what you ask. In regards to the multi-channel, I have another partner. It's called Merchant Spring. They have 100+ marketplace around the world, so you can connect and see all of them from one dashboard. So like Jerome said, you either invest in your time and find the solutions, or invest in money. No, and honestly, time is more valuable. So
I think we have another one from Ahmed.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's asking if Gatita is available for EU Amazon. The answer is yes. So we're a global leader. We operate on a global level. So wherever you are in EU, we can help you. Not an issue. Whether it be UK, Germany, Italy, Spain, that's fine. Of course, in the US and also Canada and Mexico. So I hope that helps. I think Henrik brought in another question.
Exactly. Another question from Henrik. That's for taxes. If you have an FBA stock in Germany and you want to sell in France without having FBA stock in France, with the new SS rule, you don't need France VAT number when you sell more than the new limit of 100K. Not. You simply continue paying VAT in Germany, but if you have already registered, obviously need to register for the one-stop shop. That is the only difference. So you pay only in Germany and you hold your stock there. If you decide to set up stock in France, then you need to pay there. But the one-stop shop is done with the exact idea to make it simplify. In order to registering for multiple markets, do it in your home one. Once you grow, then obviously it's good to register in each one. But the idea is to actually encourage smaller sellers to grow and expand. Let me see, guys. We have another one here from Basil. That's for Jim. What would be your advice for a brand owner like me to achieve better valuation if I decide to actually exit? What do you recommend?
Yeah, it's a question a lot of people ask. Usually the valuation is based on your trailing 12 months EBITDA or seller's discretionary earnings. So if you want to maximize the value of your sale, focus very much on having a very strong trailing 12 months profit. Now, the reason I say that is a lot of people invest in scaling their business and then come to us and say, I've doubled or tripled the business this year. And that's great. But if it's to launch 15, 20 products in a year, often comes at the expense of profitability because you're in a growth phase. So think about trimming your numbers as you're thinking about selling. Trim your sale or your profitability, or trim your business for profitability rather than growth, because you'll get a better exit number than if you're just selling a lot. So profitability is king when it not always, but in our world generally, profitability is the biggest driver of the valuation.
Exactly. When you have a lot of revenue, a lot of VAT, so it's better to have less revenue and bigger profits at the end. So, a few more questions here. One is for Jerome from Tatiana. What is the best country to start from in Europe? What would you recommend and why? And another question from her: should I have the same pricing on each market? On each market.
Cool. So what I mentioned is that the two biggest markets are Germany and the UK. So I would start and focus on one of them. Now with Brexit specifically, like you have to consider that if you go into UK, you will have to have another like logistic solution for Germany, for mainland Europe. So in terms of if you can work with other languages, then Germany is the best bet because it's easy then to go to the rest of Europe. That would be my first thing. And on the pricing, like the main question is, how do you want your brand to appear? You want to have customers who would go to different platforms, see exactly the same price, or you want to adapt to the consumers? And there's a benefit and risks on both. If you're very market driven, then you will look at what's happening in your own market and do a specific price. In all fairness, most of the customers stay on their own Amazon, but you have countries like Belgium who would probably customers would go to Germany, Amazon Germany, Amazon France, and benchmark. But that's a limited number of people.
So one other thing regarding Germany. In Germany, when you apply for VAT, you can do it with English documents. You don't need to translate that, which is a big benefit, obviously. So another question from Ahmed. I'm looking for VAT Belgium registration. Is that possible to do with you without filing? Obviously, without filing, you need to file somewhere. You need to select a certain market. So if you're in Belgium, you need to register there. If you're in Germany, you need to register there. And when you register with the one-stop shop, you can sell to all markets in the European Union, in the UK. In the European Union without the UK right now because of the customs. So you need to select a location and sell to multiple markets. So that is how it works with the one-stop shop. So you're not actually required to do it in specific markets. Usually Germany, like Jerome said, is the best option. Biggest market, like I said, English documents accepted and all the other benefits. We have a few more questions. This one is for Yoni. From Jorge: doesn't Amazon automatically reimburse me? If yes, why do I need to audit and ask for the reimbursement?
Okay, so the question is, because Amazon Auto reimburses the sellers, why do they need to audit? Okay, got it. So, all right, so yeah, so I want everybody to understand the name of the game of auditing. So in general, yes, Amazon automatically reimburses you for anything that they automatically find with their system. But then they tell you, if you look at their terms of service, they tell you, after we're done, we need 30 days. And after 30 days, you, the seller, need to audit us, check us. And anything that we missed and left behind, it's up to you to open a case. And we're going to take a look at it. And of course, if we owe you a reimbursement, we'll pay you. So that's kind of the name of the game. And that's when Getira really can come in and take that load or that pressure or that responsibility off your hands. The reason is because, like I mentioned, there's no subscription, so it's free to join. we only charge a fee from the recovery. We charge a 25% fee. So if we were able to get you 100 euros back that you never had access to before, it's basically money from the dead. 25% will be 25 euros. That's what we're gonna bill you for this month. But next month we're gonna get you zero euros back. So you're gonna pay us 0 euros. So it's very, very flexible, very convenient. And yeah, so it's pretty much your money just sitting there. Our mission is just to make sure it's back in your pocket so you can use it to grow, invest more into your PPC campaign, product launch, stay profitable, and then check out Gym with Ratio.
And actually, one more question from me, that's from Nicholas. How long does it take Getida to get back all the available reimbursement, and what's your success rate?
Got it. That's a good question. So when you plug your Amazon account with Getida, what we're going to do is we're going to go back 18 months and clean it up. Anything that was left behind, we're going to clean that up. And this process could take up to 90 days. Depends on the volume and how many transactions you had. So if you're a $1 million seller, there's probably going to be an X amount. But if you do 100 million, also there's probably more volume. So the phase one can take up to 90 days to clean up your account. And then it goes to the second phase where it's month to month. So as soon as the issues come in, that's when we cash them and make sure we put that money back in your pocket so it doesn't expire or go away. What was the last part of that question?
And what is the success rate? Let's
Got
say,
it. So
if they have whatever revenue, how much can you get back, I guess?
yeah, so I'll split it into two. So our success rate is over 70%. So for every 10 cases that we're going to open on your behalf, more than 7 cases will get reimbursed because we want to be very, very efficient. We don't just want to open cases, not get anybody paid and waste everybody's time. So that's kind of our commitment. And high level, we see that on an annual basis, the discrepancy rate can range between 1 to 3%. So let's say he does €1 million, that can be 10 to 30,000. So you know your numbers. If you do 100,000, 1 to 3% could be 1 to 3,000. Once again, on an annual basis, that's kind of the opportunity that's out there.
Okay, thanks. Only one question that's from me from Carlota. Is OSS compatible with selling in Amazon, or should we still keep the VAT restriction when selling in Amazon? Actually, obviously, the Amazon already prepared for the one-stop shop. So if you're based in the European Union and if you're using KFB, nothing changes. If you're starting to sell right now, you go through the same procedure. If you fulfill the orders by yourself, you register for one-stop shop once you hit 10K. There is a difference if you're based in the EU or if you're based outside of the EU. But that's a lot of variety. So we can actually send us an email and actually we'll do a consultation after the event. Another question from Jay Swain for Yoni. If we give cost of products to Getida, can you audit that we were given the proper amount back?
I love this question because I have good news for you, Jay Swain. You don't really need to because when Amazon pays you a reimbursement, they don't pay you your cost. They pay you the retail. So this way you're able to get your money back and make profit. That's why it's very, very powerful to get everything that you owed back because you're going to make profit on it. So I hope that helps.
Okay, just a second.
Guys, I'm not just saying this to plug Yoni, but I had a team of VAs doing this for a long time. And it's painful because, as we all know, VAs tend to kind of find any reason not to get stuff right. And I didn't like the idea of paying 25% to Yoni. But we did, and it took a load of stress out. And I think probably it paid for itself over time. These guys don't miss anything. They just don't miss anything. Like a VA is either not skilled or motivated in the same way these guys are to get your money back. So it depends on who you are and where you're at in your business, but it'd be crazy not to give it a go because it's money. It's honestly money that you didn't know you had coming back at you. So every dollar feels like you've just gone ka-ching and it's coming at you out of the casino. It's money you didn't think you had. It's great.
I just want to add to that. Thank you, Jim. Yeah, I want to add to that just so you know, everybody, we're customizable. It doesn't have to be you or us. If you have a team, you like him, you want to keep him. Then we can really cover up for them. So we can come after, see what they miss. And only if we're successful in getting you everything that they miss, all that money back, we'll get paid. So we always kind of make it a win-win situation.
So one question that's actually for Jerome. Which are, from anonymous attendee, which are the categories that are best selling, especially for UK and Germany?
That's a very nice question, very smart question, right? It's like I don't like. It's very difficult to answer because it wouldn't be fair to say, yeah, I have the category and you will be successful. It's like Amazon is very complex. Obviously, pet food, children product are very like audio categories are growing like hell, but it's down to your strategy. It's like, do you have a niche product and you want to be very successful with a niche, or do you want to go with the flow and have a small slice of that cake? But so for me, there's a lot of, as soon as if you have the good product, but even more the right strategy and right understanding of Amazon and those good tools like Getida. We also use Getida and a lot of different, and the right partner for taxes, then you can be successful nearly every product.
I wanted to add something to Jerome's point. You can be very data driven about it and try to find the best category or something like that. But I would maybe recommend try to really solve a problem to somebody, the consumer. If you're really trying to solve something, you're going to be very passionate about it. You're going to have a really good story to tell. You're going to be able to differentiate yourself and cover a market share, or you create a micro niche or whatever it is. And then once you really want to sell that business, you're going to be very valuable. So it's something to have in mind also.
Yeah, you should look for alternatives. Like Einstein is saying, you cannot do the same stuff and expect different results. So if you always know, you can mostly look at brands who actually failed, because you might get ideas, because the successful ones, they're very strong. So you should find a niche and obviously use good companies like our partners. Actually, we do the events to educate sellers, because a lot of my partners and my partners' clients didn't know about Getida, didn't know about Trasio, didn't know about Jerome. And obviously, if you don't know, you don't make decisions, or you make stupid decisions. Like after Brexit, we told a lot of companies what to do. Most of them just were wait and see, and what they did after Brexit, they stopped selling. So that's not an option. You need to be prepared. So one question from Karan. Is it true that Amazon require any new seller to be VAT registered in the UK? If you're outside of the UK, yes, they're required to do that. We've heard that for Germany as well. So if you're based in the UK, it's your home country. So if you don't hold stock, they would not force to do that.
This one's for Jim.
Yeah.
This is for Jim.
Do you buy successful brands that have white label their product?
I need to understand that a bit better, I think. We buy private label brands. So we buy brands typically created by solopreneurs who started off on a bootstrap, come up with an idea, launched a product on Amazon and built it to 7 or 8 figures. And they own the registered trademark, and therefore we buy that asset and we own that brand. So we effectively, yes, we buy white label brands. Just on the previous question, I think this is a really big question. Like, Amazon is, over time, the what you need to success changes, and it's getting harder and harder all the time. So 5 years ago, you could get away with seeing products that were selling well and just copying them with a new product sticker on it. Today, you have to find the niche within the niche and really solve a problem. Like the guys were saying, you're not going to get away with going, oh, that category sells trillions of dollars. I can do that too. If you go in with that kind of, that's data, right? But that's not smart use of data, right? So it's a big category, but it's a saturated category. What are you going to find? What's your angle? What's your niche in the niche? What's your story? Talking what Jerome was talking about earlier, and how's that product really going to sort of differentiate and talk to the end user? And that's the bit. Amazon is all about you start with your product. You live and die by your product selection. So at the core of everything, make sure you are being really. Just stand back, forget about what all the tools are telling you and all the shiny numbers and trillions of dollars. Just think about, does this product make sense? Is it saturated? Is there a good margin that, as margin decreases over time, which is almost inevitable, can I still stand my ground in that category? And if the answers to all of those things are yes, you've got a half decent chance of success. And then PPC and SEO and all the other things start to kick in.
Okay, guys, I think we don't have any more questions, and we're in the overtime, so I guess we should call it even. I guess win for the attendees at the end. So all good. For the people who are actually here now, we'll send the recording eventually, so we'll have the emails of Jim, Yoni, and Jerome, and myself. So if you have any questions, just feel free to outreach to us, and we'll show exactly how it works on our side. If we cannot help, we have a lot of partners, so like Yoni did, we'll recommend and introduce to somebody. So I guess thank you guys, and I guess we'll go and just kick some back, just enjoy the rest of the day, the weather or whatever we're planning to do. So
all right, thank you everybody.
Very much.